You walk through an airport in 2026. No lines, no passport, just a silent camera that scans your face and, without a word, lets you through. Unless it doesn't. Behind this seamless moment, a hidden AI rule decides who is safe to fly, who is suspicious, and who is denied, all in under 2 seconds. Already tested at Heathrow, Changi, and LAX, this seamless travel framework will soon be mandatory worldwide, whether travelers know it or not. But the real shock isn't the speed or efficiency. It's what happens when a machine decides you don't belong on the plane. And it all starts with the way the system sees you. A row of glass gates stands between you and your flight. No one asks for a boarding pass. Instead, as you approach, a high-resolution camera locks onto your face. The gate's sensors trigger and sync, capturing your features in a split second. In less than 2 seconds, your identity is checked, not by a person, but by an algorithm. The camera's feed is encrypted and sent straight to a verification system that compares your face to the digital template linked to your ticket. If the match is clean, the gate slides open. If not, the process halts. There's no need to hand over a passport, tap a phone, or scan a code. The system is built for speed. Heathrow's e-gates can clear a passenger in under 2 seconds, and Changi's biometric lanes are designed to handle thousands per hour. At Dubai International, the goal is 80% of all travelers passing through with nothing but a face scan. No small talk, no paperwork, just a silent exchange between your features and a database. The promise is clear. Shorter lines, faster boarding, fewer bottlenecks. But every scan feeds raw data into a larger machine, fueling the next step, where the real decisions happen. And that's where things get interesting. Behind the glass and steel, a second layer of automation goes to work. Every step, every purchase, every pause in the duty-free zone is tracked and scored. The system doesn't just know who you are, it tries to predict what you might do. Algorithms crunch movement data from security cameras, flagging travelers who linger too long near restricted areas or who change their route at the last minute. Every credit card swipe, every coffee bot, every deviation from the usual flow feeds the engine. This isn't just about catching someone on a watch list. The risk model builds a profile in real time, assigning a score to each passenger. Too high, and the system can trigger an automatic hold, sometimes before you even reach the gate. No one outside the vendor team sees the full logic. The software is proprietary, guarded as a trade secret. Even airport staff aren't told exactly what triggers a red flag. The training data, the thresholds, the weight given to each behavior, locked away behind non-disclosure agreements and encrypted servers. What's left is a black box. A traveler walks, buys, waits, and the machine decides. Some vendors claim error rates below 1% in controlled tests. But internal audits and stress events have shown spikes, up to 4% of travelers flagged for review during busy hours. The output is final, at least until a human steps in, but by then the flight is often gone. The logic is invisible, but the consequences are not. And the real question is, who gets to peek inside the box? At Heathrow, the promise of seamless travel isn't just a sales pitch, it's a daily reality for thousands. In 2024, more than a third of all passengers moved through biometric e-gates instead of traditional lines. Airport operations teams tracked every queue, every minute saved. The numbers told their own story. Wait times dropped and peak hour chaos eased. For travelers, that meant less shuffling, fewer missed connections, and a steady flow from curb to gate. The system didn't just speed things up, it reshaped how Heathrow managed crowds, especially during holiday surges and weather delays. Behind the scenes, airport staff watched as the digital gates handled volumes that once required dozens of agents. Efficiency became the new baseline. But in the race to move people faster, the next challenge was always lurking. What happens when the machine says no? Singapore Changi's digital operations team watched their dashboards light up. Between November 7th and 9th, 2023, the airport's risk-scoring algorithm flagged a sudden wave of travelers as potential threats. The numbers jumped so quickly that for nearly 2 days, lines backed up and dozens of ordinary passengers were blocked from boarding. Internal memos flew between digital operations and security as staff scrambled to figure out what triggered the surge. The system had tripped its own emergency rollback. Thresholds were dialed back and automated holds paused, just to keep flights moving. 48 hours after it started, the spike faded, but the damage was done. Travelers missed flights, complaints stacked up, and the AI's promise of seamless travel cracked under pressure. Changi's incident became a warning. If the machine's logic slips, the entire airport grid can grind to a halt. And the next time, rollback might not be an option. At Los Angeles International, the rollout of AI-powered screening has become a battleground, not just for technology, but for control. Every week, procurement leads and security chiefs meet behind closed doors, arguing over how much personal data should feed the airport's risk models. One side pushes for real-time links to airline records, credit card histories, even flagged social media posts. The other worries about privacy, regulatory blowback, and the risk of locking travelers out based on incomplete or misread signals. The debate isn't theoretical. Each department is held to strict performance targets: faster lines, fewer errors, but also compliance with American and international privacy laws. The tension is constant. LAX's system can't run on facial scans alone. It needs a steady stream of external data to score travelers. But with every new data feed, the question grows louder. Who decides what's fair? And who gets left behind when the system says no? A single clause, drafted in the final hours of the 2025 ICAO assembly, now hangs over every major airport in the world. The language is precise, almost cold. All contracting airports and airlines must implement interoperable AI-driven biometric screening and predictive passenger risk management, with compliance required by January 2026. No exceptions, no footnotes. The minutes show little debate, just a short list of objections from privacy delegates, then a vote. The deadline is not advisory. It is a line in the sand. Airports that fail to comply risk losing their operating certificates, cutting off international flights overnight. Airlines, too, face penalties and route suspensions if they don't connect their systems to the global AI backbone. The countdown is public. Digital clocks in control rooms mark the days until January 1st, 2026. Procurement teams scramble to finalize contracts. Vendors rush last-minute patches. The clause is more than policy. It is a mandate with teeth. For travelers, it means the old ways of moving through an airport are set to expire. Everything from check-in to boarding will be decided by a machine, not a person. The rule is clear. The clock is ticking, and there's no going back. Failure to comply with the new AI mandate is not just a technical issue. It's existential for airports and airlines. The International Civil Aviation Organization has made its position clear. Certification now depends on machine-driven screening. An ICAO compliance officer put it bluntly, "This framework makes machine decision-making the norm, not the exception." Airports and airlines must adopt or lose operational certification. That means a major airport that hesitates or lags behind could lose its license to operate international flights. No certification, no planes, no passengers, overnight. The International Air Transport Association is backing the push, telling members that seamless AI-powered travel is the only way to keep up with global demand and security threats. Airlines that don't connect to the AI backbone face route suspensions and heavy penalties. The pressure is relentless. Procurement teams are racing against the clock, vendors are working overtime, and every executive knows the stakes. One compliance officer described the mood. "Nobody wants to be the airport that gets cut off. The risk is too high. We're not talking about a warning letter. We're talking about shutting down international traffic." Machine decisions are no longer a backup. They're the new baseline. For airports, the choice is simple: upgrade or disappear from the map. But for travelers, the consequences are just starting to hit home. You arrive at the airport, suitcase in hand, ready for a routine trip. There's no check-in desk, no line of agents, just a row of glass gates and a camera that knows your face. You step forward. Instantly, the system pulls your digital identity from the airline's database. Name, ticket, passport photo, and a shadow trail of every flight you've taken in the last 5 years. Your boarding pass is virtual, tied to your face and your movement. The gate scans you, then pauses. On a hidden dashboard, your risk score flashes red. Maybe you spent too long at a closed gate. Maybe your credit card flagged a last-minute purchase. Maybe your travel history matches a pattern the algorithm doesn't like. There's no warning, just a silent hold. The gate won't open. No staff rush over. The screen offers a message. Please wait for further instructions. Behind the scenes, your passenger name record and biometric data have triggered an automated review. The system cross-checks your details against watch lists, recent purchases, and real-time CCTV feeds. In some airports, a human might be notified, but by the time anyone reviews your case, the flight is already boarding. The machine's decision is logged, time-stamped, and sent to the airline. Your seat is marked as unoccupied. You're stuck on the wrong side of the gate, watching other travelers breeze through. There's no appeal, no explanation. The only thing you know is that a machine, somewhere in the system, decided you were too risky to fly. Today, or maybe ever. And it all happened without a single human conversation. But that's not the scary part. Most travelers never see the audit logs. But inside airport control rooms, the numbers tell a different story. During normal operations, biometric gates claim error rates below 1%. Yet when the system is stressed, peak travel days, late-night departures, or a sudden influx of international flights, the error rate can spike to 4%. That means out of every 100 people scanned, up to 4 could be wrongly flagged, delayed, or denied. The odds aren't random. Independent audits and government reports have found the risk isn't evenly spread. Travelers with darker skin, women and children are more likely to be misidentified. In 2024, the UK Home Office reported a 3.9% false positive rate for non-white women at Heathrow's e-gates. The U.S. National Institute of Standards and Technology found similar patterns in its 2024 airport facial recognition tests. The question of what happens to all this data splits the world's airports. In Europe, privacy laws force most systems to delete your facial scan within 24 or 48 hours, sometimes even faster if you're not flagged. But immigration records can last much longer. The EU's entry-exit system keeps images and fingerprints for up to 3 or 5 years, depending on your travel history. Passenger name records are masked after 6 months but stay in storage for 5 years. In the US, the rules are far looser. A US citizen's airport face scan might be deleted after 12 hours, but non-citizen images and travel records can remain in government databases for 75 years. There's no easy way to opt out, and little transparency about where the data goes next. These numbers aren't just statistics, they're the hidden risks behind every seamless journey. For most, the system works as promised, but for thousands each year, a single scan can trigger a chain reaction. Delays, missed flights, and a digital record that's almost impossible to erase. And when the algorithm gets it wrong, the burden of proof falls on the traveler, not the machine. But the legal fight is only just beginning. Robert Williams never set foot in an airport when facial recognition got him arrested. In 2020, Detroit police used an algorithm to match a blurry surveillance photo to Williams' driver's license. The system got it wrong. Officers arrived at his home, handcuffed him in front of his family, and took him in for questioning. Hours passed before anyone realized the mistake. The ACLU took up his case, arguing that facial recognition bias had turned a flawed match into a real-world arrest. Williams became the face of a problem that privacy advocates had warned about for years. When a machine misidentifies you, the fallout is immediate. And the apology comes too late. Airports watch the case closely. Williams's story didn't start at a boarding gate, but its lesson hit home as biometric gates and AI risk scoring went mainstream. The risk of misidentification wasn't theoretical anymore. Lawmakers responded with the Traveler Privacy Protection Act of 2025. The bill, still winding its way through Congress, would force the TSA and its contractors to limit how long they keep facial scans, publish how the data is used, and let travelers opt out of biometric checks without penalty. It also demands independent audits of every airport biometric system, with results made public. Airlines and airport operators have pushed back, warning that opt-outs and transparency rules could slow lines and weaken security. But for privacy advocates, the stakes are clear. Every scan is a potential risk, and every wrongful denial is a reminder that the system is only as fair as its code and the laws that keep it in check. The fight isn't settled. The bill's fate remains uncertain, and most travelers still have no meaningful way to challenge an algorithm's decision. For now, the only real safeguard is the hope that someone is finally watching the machines. But as biometric gates become the rule, not the exception, the question lingers. Who gets to hold the system accountable when it gets it wrong? By 2024, 1 in 3 passengers at Heathrow passed through biometric e-gates, their faces scanned and identities verified in seconds. But as shown in Changi's November 2023 incident, false positives forced a system rollback within 48 hours, exposing real limits. In January 2026, the ICAO Seamless Travel Framework will require all major airports to adopt AI-driven screening, backed by IATA's endorsement. This shift means no human check-in. AI assigns your risk profile using your face, movements, and travel history. Cases like Robert Williams's wrongful arrest show the dangers of misidentification, while privacy audits reveal error rates of 3 to 4%. The new U.S. Traveler Privacy Protection Act of 2025 and Europe's 24-hour data retention law highlight ongoing legal battles over surveillance and rights. Yet many details about how these algorithms make decisions remain undisclosed. The fact is, airports around the world are preparing for a future where machines, not people, decide if you fly. The question is no longer if you'll be scanned, but how much these systems already know about you.